Now let's just start off by recapping the week a little bit. I was so nervous going into this week. As you guys know, I've traded real money before and I reverted back to paper trading when I felt that I just had some more development to do and I needed to go back to paper trading for a little bit. And this is my first time back for a little while. So I was very nervous, and to even add to obviously recording in front of you guys was obviously multiplied the nerves. So that's kind of where my mindset was at the beginning of the week. Now let's kind of jump into the stats. So I started the account at a very small amount. The account actually started at $919 and it was 95 cents USD. And we ended the week at 993 and 37 cents USD. So I don't think it's a bad start to the series, but I also have some trades that I want to go through and talk about my performance, because I definitely feel my performance right at the end of week really plummeted. It could have been because I was tired. I really felt like, you know, when you're working full time, you get to the end of the week and you plummet. You really have to learn to perform. And what I mean by that is not just perform on the chart, do things that actually put you in the best position to perform. Like these 3 days where I was profitable, I was making sure I was eating something of high glucose before I was coming to the chart, so I could kind of spike my energy levels a little bit after a long day of work to kind of get back to that focused state of mind. Now, I use TradeZella to journal my trades, so we'll be actually using this platform basically through the whole series. It's a really, really good platform, guys, and you guys will see that throughout the series. But if you do want to try it out, use the code Novice10 to get 10% off your first year. So let's go ahead and actually jump straight into the week. So let's just have a look at the charts. We'll obviously go through on what we're seeing here. Basically, the average win to loss ratio was not too bad, 1.8. It could have been a little better, and I definitely know what lost through this out. It definitely should have been more of that 2R, but I took a big loss on one of the days, which we'll get to. Daily win ratio or percentage, not bad either, 60%. I personally think this Friday possibly could have been avoidable, even if I knew that I was very tired that day, you know, not in a mindset to perform. I probably just shouldn't have traded, and that's where I feel discipline comes in. It's not only on the chart, kind of discipline in understanding where you are personally before your trading session. And I think as novice traders, we want to trade, we want to get better. Sometimes you just have to leave it, and I'm still working on that, as you can see. So, but hopefully we will get better at that. Profit factor, I never really understand how exactly this works. I mean, if it's higher than 1, it's a profitable trading system. So obviously we were profitable this month. Trade win ratio, 30%. I personally, this is not high enough. I think it should be more 40, 50, 60 on, you know, really good weeks. And look, this would have been a lot higher. I think it was at about 55% before my Friday performance. So I took so many losses on this day that I just shouldn't have, which really threw the numbers out. Now these numbers will obviously as well kind of get a more accurate average once we continue the series to kind of see where things sit. But obviously net P&L is 7.98%. I'll switch it over to the dollar for you guys just so you can actually see how it all looks, and how much I was risking per trade, USD, all of that stuff. So again, you can see we've made $73.40. Now I just want to point something out to you guys is, you know, a lot of people will look at that and go like, that's not much, whatever. But when you look at how small the account is, 7.9% increase for the week, that's really good, and it could have been so much better. I am risking a decent amount of the account itself, and I plan to probably add more to the account as well through the series. So I think I'm going to, whenever I do that, I'll show you, you know, my account receipts or something like that, just to make it so honest and transparent throughout these series, because I don't want you guys coming to the series and thinking that it's just all for show or anything like that. Look, it probably won't get to that point because I'm not going to be profitable for a very long time yet. I'm not profitable yet. I'm very much a break-even trader, you know, sometimes losing. Like I'm still very, very new. So I just want to point that out, guys, that I will be trying to be as transparent as possible. And if you guys have anything that you feel that would improve the series or something that you want to see, let me know, because I'll try and implement it to really help you guys find value in these videos. One thing that I didn't do for this week that I will be next week is I do use the tape to read a lot of my entries. I think I'm going to possibly record my screen or something during my sessions, or maybe just screenshot the tape at the time that I am trading. So then that way we have a little bit more to refer back to as well, because right now we just got the chart, but that's not the only thing I use when I'm trading. TradeZella, I've been using it for a little bit now, but there's so much to use on there. It's a huge platform and you can use it in all different ways that suits your needs, but I think we can even learn how to use it and implement it and really get better at journaling as well along the way in this series. I probably don't journal as good as I probably should. So again, if you guys have any recommendations where you feel like I should be adding or talking about, by all means, leave it in the comment section below. Again, I'm not a profitable trader yet. I'm open to criticism. We'll jump into the first day. This first day, I was very, very nervous. Very nervous. It was the first day back in. I kind of just want to rip it off like a band-aid, and I've left like a daily note. So I said, not really in the best mindset this trading week. A lot of anxiety about making the series really helpful for my viewers, and anxiety about judgments and bad trades. Let's actually have a look at the trades. This trade here, I've said 50% marked up on the 30, 50% marked up on the 5. Looking back, the 5-minute run had lower volume, which could have indicated a weak move up, and it may not continue. Also 5 and 30-minute resistance above with less than 2 hour to move. So this was the low probability trade. Basically what I'm talking about, there's a resistance here. So I've got the 5-minute in the purple, but it was also 30-minute zone. So me taking a long ride at this level and aiming for here didn't really make much sense with my stop being so low, which I wanted it to be below the low that was here, right? And the run up, that we've got the run up, but it's on dropping volume. So it could mean that it was quite a weak move. And even the first candle with a pretty big candle, it had very average volume here, which could indicate that it wasn't really a significant move, right? So that's something that I definitely should have picked up or looked at, but I didn't. Again, I wasn't quite focused. Anxiety probably caught me up a little bit there. Again, not too much of a loss though. So I kept my loss, you know, a decent size. I normally aim for about 50 USD. This one here, I traded this based on intuition. So I said, this trade felt like intuition. I should be more disciplined, especially while I'm still learning. That's why I say that. I think in some cases when you're a very experienced trader, you may be able to say that's okay. But for me, I'm not experienced in any word of the sense. So I shouldn't really be trading on intuition. And it was a final flag move. So something that I've learned from Al Brooks' trading course is you've got one leg, a pullback, a two-legged pullback, and then another leg, and then it fails to move down and continues. So that's why I felt that this trade was going to work, and it also ran the low, so basically took liquidity from this low. So there was many reasons as to why I kind of felt like this trade was going to work. Original stop, again, was below this one, so obviously here, but I pulled it up, and I say that I pulled the stop up out of fear, and I think there was 2 reasons for this, because I had already lost the first 2 trades. I was quite emotional on this day. But not only that, I didn't follow my plan. So I didn't have any faith in what I was doing because I simply didn't trade my plan. If I traded my plan, I feel like it wouldn't have been as anxiety inducing. I probably wouldn't have pulled up my stop so quickly because I would have had more confidence in what I was doing, right? But I did say, could this be a playbook, right? Because it, you know, as I said, there was reasons. So maybe in the future we'll look at creating a playbook. Maybe I could make a video where we create the playbook together, you know, and we really build a strategy based on that. But for now, again, I want to keep it simple because I'm only a new trader. If I just focus on one thing, it's going to be a lot easier for us all that are learning out there. So that was that trade. It was a break-even trade, so that's always nice. Again, this one here, so this, I actually followed a bit of a plan here. So let's go ahead to the playbook. So I mark up the 30-minute levels. So let's start at the 30-minute. So we're basically bouncing off and rejecting the 30-minute level. And we've got 5-minute levels. So again, the purple is a 5-minute level. I didn't mark up trend lines. I didn't really feel the need to, if I'm being honest. Obviously there was this very obvious trend line that was there, so I could have, but I didn't on this trade. Direction on volume, so I was seeing a lot of volume coming in on the lower sides here, so that's what I was focused on. I did have a bit of a long bias at this level because each time it's hit it, heaps of volume stepped in, right, on the 30-minute level, but you'll obviously visibly be able to see that on a 5-minute or lower. And basically we marked up our zones. Now I want to explain this a little bit. So I've basically got 50% markup from the 30-minute leg. So you can see this down leg on the 30-minute leg. Now, what the strategy is if it rejects, and it should come back up to the 50% mark to then continue, right? So that's why at this point, I did have the thought that it would come back to a 50% at the best, right? Which it did eventually. Obviously, we're not always aiming to go the whole way. We're just wanting to catch a point in that, if that makes sense. So then we drop down to a lower time frame. Sometimes it's on the 5 minute, sometimes it's on the 2 minute, depending on what the price action is looking like. For this one here, we can see we had it marked up on the 2 minutes. So you can see we had a nice push here, one leg push to the upside. Now, the reason why I felt it was a good push was because we had dropping volume as we were heading down, and then heaps of volume step in when we had that green candle. So I felt that it was a strong move. Again, I marked up once I started realizing it was pulling back. So once it come down here, I did see that there was buyers stepping in. So then obviously I entered. Now my stop was down here. I was scared to put it too close. I still have a lot of fear around trading, especially because it's real money. You know, I've lost accounts before, so I'm just playing it very safe at the moment. I think I could have risked more on this trade by having a tighter stop, but that's not really what I'm aiming for right now. So I did keep it below basically where price may have came back to test, which was below this point, and just gave it a bit of wiggle room. And yeah, so you can kind of see it came up and hit this level here. If you pop onto the 5 minute, we can see that there wasn't a level on the 5 minute, but if you kind of follow the strategy, it was a 50% pullback. So I think that's why price rejected at this point, which I could have kind of taken into consideration when it came to pulling my stop up. Again, the stop kind of moved up because it was out of fear, which again, you shouldn't really do, but it is what it is. We will learn. And as you can see, I pulled my stop up and got stopped out. So price didn't move that much away, and it wasn't a very strong level. Like, it was a 2 minute support, right? I don't really mark up 2 minute supports because they're not really that strong, and sometimes if I'm marking up too many levels, I can get a bit fearful and then jump out when I shouldn't need to. And in this case, I did anyways, but not the point. So I probably should have been keeping my stop, you know, still within a loss, because it hadn't moved too much comparison to where I was aiming for. But if you have a look at where the trade could have gone to and where I was aiming to based on a 5 minute resistance level, like it could have been a very, very good trade if I let it cook, you know? So I really like this trade. I said, so during the trade thoughts, trade felt better. Not sure if I'm aiming too high. So I was originally aiming for 237 or 23800. Now 23800, where I was aiming, was obviously the halfway mark on the 30 minute. That would have been too high, but my original take profit was 23790. So it was a really good level to actually be looking at, and price showed me that even after the fact, which was really cool to see, and kind of put my headspace in the right way for the rest of the week, because it gave me a bit of confidence that, okay, you know, I just need to play it right, manage it right, and I should be okay. And I even said my mental focus on this trade was much better. It shows in my execution, aiming for the 5 minute level on the target to aim for this trade. My fear in this session, being my first session, is evident because I pulled my stop up, you know, really quickly. So again, that was the first day. I probably won't keep all these trades in the video just because we don't want to bore you all and go through every single one. I'll probably go through the best and the worst. So this trade here, it was a good trade. So again, thoughts during session. Trade one was good, scared to stay in the trade and missed out on a lot of profit because feeling a little emotional after that trade. Taking my time now, not entering any other trades. Decent trade coming off the 30 minute resistance, 2 minute 50 and 30 minute 50. I was aiming for the trend line as we had respected that multiple times, but was conscious of the 5 minute level at this level, which was this one here. Price started to pull back and I got nervous, so I pulled my trailing stop too far. It should have been below this. And the reason why I say that is because we had the pullback here and we continued. So this was like the last low. Like, so realistically, I should have had my stop below here. It shouldn't have been up here. Again, live and we learn. Too fearful, and this is why emotions are so important to control. It's not just getting excited, it's fear, it's everything, which hopefully we'll get better at, and we'll see, you know, what we do and try and know what triggers us and hopefully counteract that before it happens, right? still a very good like trade idea. So I want to go to the playbook, give you guys a bit of like a playbook run through. So we had our 30 minutes basically lined up. So when I had the 30-minute, I knew that this was a 30-minute level. And then what we had here was obviously the one 30-minute leg. So we pulled up the halfway 50% discount level. We got that, okay. And then we dropped down to a lower level. In this case, it was on the 2-minute chart. So again, we had a nice push up with, again, beginning at decent volume here at the end. So decent run up, and it started to pull back. Now, something Al Brooks talks about a lot is, again, like a 2-legged pullback. So I had a lot of confidence in this trade. And when I look at it, I probably should have had a tighter stop and wrist a lot more, but I didn't, because I'm just not focusing on making money right now. I just want to kind of get the reps in with real money again, build that confidence up, again, go through the playbook. Had the 30-minute levels, had the 5 minutes. So this was a 5-minute level, again in purple as well. So I was really focused on this level, which is why, again, I was kind of trailing my stop pretty tight there. Trend line, so I knew the trend line on the 30. If we kind of zoom out, I won't go to the 30 just because it's a pain to go back and forth, but you've got a 30-minute trend line here, which is kind of why I was aiming. I was being cautious because, you know, we had a wedge here, so we could either break up to the upside or continue down. So I was being very cautious as well. Directional volume, again, so seeing volume spike at the low. So we were still seeing volume step in at this point. And as you can see, which I want to point out, is at this point where it comes back to this level on the last, I guess, touch point of this 30-minute level, is there's no volume. Whereas if you look back here, a lot of volume steps in at both points, but the volume lessened and lessened. And this last point, there was no volume coming in here. And you can see it broke through. Back to the trade, you can tell I'm a bit, you know, I get off tangents. So hopefully you guys are taking value from what's on this right now. Basically though, again, I watched the tape. So that's why I want to kind of probably maybe record my screen so I can show you guys what I saw on the tape and kind of run through that. So if you guys want to see that, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys like think. I saw heavy buying come in on the tape. So I obviously entered here. I entered again up here because it broke the high, and it broke the high with decent volume, and I saw it on the tape as well. So that's again why I entered here. Again, I didn't tick these exit criteria because I didn't see heavy selling come in. I was just afraid and figured it had moved a decent amount and I wanted to take that profit. And look, that's not always a bad thing either. So that was the second day, that was Tuesday. This is Wednesday. I was away from the chart when this first trade happened, and it shows just how like focused you need to be, because again, I'm not going to describe every single, I guess, trade that I'm running through because I just feel like it's going to be so repetitive in the video. But what I want to point out here is we've obviously got the setup, and price did reject this point, and I rushed in at here at this level, and that's because I was away from the chart and I like ran to my desk and put the trade on. If you miss your entry, just leave it, because your risk to reward doesn't make sense after that. Basically, because I entered so late, my stop had to be ridiculously wide, and the stop was at the support level here because I couldn't move it any further down. Now, it was a big loss because of that, because I couldn't put it where I normally would have if I had entered correctly on the trade. So if I was here, the stop would have been here and the take profit would have been up here. So it still would have been close to a 2-hour trade, but it just didn't work out that way because I rushed into it and didn't get the entry that I needed to. But the good thing about it was that I got the second chance on this trade because we got a second entry. Again, it's same trades, the same draw up, and you can basically see here, I entered perfectly. I saw heaps of buying coming in on this candle. It was at my level. You know, we took out all of this liquidity under these lows here. We're at a support level. You know, it was just making sense. And I had a nice, neat stop right below my 5-minute support level. So again, it was an enter, nice quick entry, and the stop was below this level. And I added here, and the reason why I added here was, again, something I learned off Al Brooks, is the 2-legged pullback. So I saw that pullback, saw buyers step in again on the tape, so I entered here, and I was aiming to take profit at that 5-minute level. So This was a really, really good trade. And the reason why I kind of held through this level is because on the tape, at first, sellers weren't coming in. But then as I got up here, as you can see here, I saw massive orders. So a lot of orders of 12 on the sell side on the tape. And when they're that big, I just don't even want to like risk holding it. And as you can see, I could have held it a little bit longer, but I really think I exited. You know, I didn't want to hold through this consolidation. I don't want to be doing that, right? I executed really, really well. I have a bad habit of jumping straight into a trade, so I decided to go heat up some dinner because I trade at night right after obviously working a whole day. So I actually eat when I trade. And I have a really bad habit of when I like make a good trade, because I'm like, all right, well, I'm selling here, it should now sell off here. I have a really bad habit of, you know, instantly going the other way when I've won a trade. So I learnt that, and I kind of try and preempt it and do some actions to avoid it. So I went and heated up my dinner, and after that I basically sat at the chart eating dinner, watching this consolidate, and it was just really good. And that was kind of the end of the day. Thursday. So this is where you can see I got a little impatient. We're on the short side here, so basically a 50% mark on a 30-minute level, and then obviously dropping down to 2-minute, we can see we had a push down, and we were aiming to capitalize on this pullback before it continues, right? And this could have been a really good trade, but I entered too early. Sometimes when I watch the tape too early before it actually gets to my area of interest, I would say, I have a really bad habit of then entering, because you see sales come in on the tape and you kind of read the tape too early, and sometimes reading it can just be very emotional because you've got selling coming in, you've got buying coming in, and it's a lot to absorb. So what I probably would or should have done in this would have been waiting for price to get a little bit closer to my area of interest before even looking at the tape. And I think that would have helped me not enter so early. If I had waited, I would have had a 5-minute level drawn up. The next 5-minute level, there's not really, this is quite far away, so I wouldn't have used this as a level. I would have dropped down and I would have been able to see that, hey, this is a bit of a level here because we had support. You can see it tried to find support again. So I would have had a level here on the 2-minute. If something's too far away, I'll see if I can find somewhere where we're showing a bit of support. So in a perfect world, I would have waited for it to come up the area, seeing a lot of selling come in. The entry probably would have been more like this, stop above there, and essentially the target obviously being the original target down here. Now, again, luckily on this one, I did get a second chance on the trade. That doesn't always happen, and sometimes people get caught in continuously taking trades, which we did do this week, which we'll get to, but we did get another chance, which is really nice. I entered late because price moved so quickly. And after the first trade, I try my best not to like keep chasing trades, because earlier on in the week I did chase trades. So I was trying to take a breather if I do get stopped out. And obviously because I was stopped out like here, at this point, I wasn't really in the mindset to just jump straight back into a trade. So that's why I entered late, because this moved fairly quickly to the downside and I didn't want to chase the price either. So I kind of waited for the pullback that I saw here, and then I entered again here, or added, because it broke the low, and it broke the low with decent orders on the tape, aggressive orders stepping in still. So that's why I entered that one there. And again, you can see this is a really decent trade now that I got a second chance. So I'm hoping next week that we don't need those second chances. We can get that trade right the first time, that quality trade on the first go. Now, in this case, I did actually have my stop just above this high, because I felt though already had this pullback here. I didn't feel as though it was necessary to put my stop all the way up here. I actually had another high or another level now to go off, which was up here. So when I entered here, that's where my original stop was. And then I aimed obviously down. I was originally aiming for this level here, and possibly considering it going lower, which again, as we can see, it actually did go lower. But would I have had the patience to hold? And my stop was actually a little bit too high here. I probably wouldn't have had the patience to hold all through that anyways. That's why I trade on the 2-minute time frame because I'm trying to do something that fits my personality well and capitalizes on everything. Now, Friday was a very bad day. There was a few missed trades because I just wasn't reading the chart very well. I had a short bias through the session, which is quite silly because that was not the right bias to have, as you can see. But as I looked back and, tried to follow my plan, because I didn't on the day, there was so much to learn. For example, I think we had accumulation here. So I should have been expecting it to go up. I didn't really draw up all my levels. This was quite a big push and I was expecting it to go down because we were at a 50% discount level here. So I kind of expected it to just go short, and I just held that opinion for a very long time, and it didn't go well for me basically. And what I should have paid attention to is if we're having such a strong push like this, I shouldn't expect price to instantly go down. That happens very rarely. Normally you'll have a consolidation and then it'll go down and continue or whatever. So I should have not expected that. I should have waited for distribution to show in the volume here. Basically, I was not in the right headspace in any word of the sense, and I missed so many trades. So what I want to actually show, had a major bearish bias for no good reason. I didn't focus much in this session and was very tired, so many trades. Basically, I missed a lot of trades because I didn't mark up my 50% drawback on the 2-minute. I did it on the 5-minute, and yeah, it made me miss trades. So basically I've just got a few screenshots because I do use TradingView when I am trading as well to draw up my charts. You can see here we had a run of 50% pullback and then continuation, and again here at a different point in the chart during the session. So whenever I miss a trade, I will screenshot them because it shows, what did I do wrong? What trades did I miss? Why did I miss them? It's super handy to have because this could have really been a good day. This is where I talk about performing. It's not just about your knowledge. It's about being able to execute it. It's about being able to be in the right mental headspace. And that's such a hard thing. That is such a hard thing to do. And that's why trading is so hard. It's not hard because of the knowledge you have to learn. It's because you have to be on your best performance each day and really own your performance. Take accountability for how you perform and how you act, how you think. And that's why trading is so hard. So that's a sum of the week. So that's week 1. Again, if you do want to use the same platform that I'm using, it's TradeZella. Click the link below. Basically use the code Novice10 to get 10% off on your first year. Yeah, that's currently the first week. We've got that out of the way. We made 7-point-something%. I think that's a pretty good effort. Next week, I want to be focusing on a few things, which is basically staying consistent and being patient with my entries and just obviously staying consistent. I've been following my plan for the most part. The second thing is focusing on setting myself up for the trading session. So making sure my headspace is in the right state, whether I need to meditate for 5 minutes beforehand, eat some fruit to get some energy spike after my long day at work, whatever it may be. Do those things to set yourself up to perform, because it's not just about coming to the chart and placing trades. You will not be able to execute properly if your mental state is, or even your body is in the right space. So exercise, look after yourself so you can think clearly, and that's what I want to focus on in this next week so I can perform. That's the first week, guys. There was a lot of ups, there was a lot of downs, but I'm glad the week's over and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to join on the journey, again, I'll be posting every single week for hopefully the next 6 months until I'm profitable. Join the journey. Again, if you want to use TradeZella, click the link below, Novice10. It's the best platform that I've ever used and it's helped me heaps in my trading. So if you want to try it out, and I'll see you next week to go through week 2. Fingers crossed. See you in the next one. Thanks. Bye. Oh, and don't forget about the giveaway. Subscribe, like, and comment your struggles down below. As soon as we get to 1,000 subs, someone will win the trading course, Price Action by Al Brooks, and Anna Cooling's book on volume price analysis. So stay tuned. If you don't think you're going to win it or don't think that this is a real giveaway, check out my other videos where I have done a giveaway in the past, and you can even check his channel out where he unboxed that giveaway. So I promise you guys, it's a legit giveaway. There's no copyright on the course. I'm not pirating it. I will be giving you the full access to the course, which will literally have everything in there. So do not forget, and I'll see you in the next video.